Hey guys, ready to do a Q&A? What up to my peoples? Welcome back to Retro Crunch, your nostalgia news show that is all about current pop culture, movies, music, and games that relates to all things 70s, 80s, and 90s. Alright guys, this episode is a little bit special to me. Retro Crunch finally made it to the 20th episode on the channel. When I first started Retro Crunch, I knew there wasn't really any channels that talked about news that related to nostalgia and retro stuff. Yeah, there's like retro gaming channels and ones that talk about nostalgia movies, but not ones that told us about news about old child stars and cool movie reboots and retro fashion all in one place. So that's what I did. I made a channel dedicated to those things that I really love. And that's what got me interested in doing the channel. I love the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and I love following the trends, movies, and stuff from the old school. And that's where we are today with this 20th episode. And since you know a lot more about the channel, I wanted to try and do a Q&A and let you guys know more about me and some of the interests that I have for a change. Over the months of this channel, I've received a few messages asking me about the channel or about me. Granted, I didn't get a lot of mail, but enough for me to do a decent sized Q&A. So I thought that this would be a great chance to answer some of those questions. So let's get started. Alright, so the first question coming from Paula Bean 88 is, why don't you do topics about the 50s or 60s? Really, the reason that I don't really do the 50s or 60s much is just because I grew up in the 70s. I was born in the 70s, grew up and had my childhood in the 80s. And in the 90s, that was kind of like my younger, young adult years. So I know a lot more about that. So that's probably the reason that you don't really see me talk about the 50s or 60s as much as I do the 70s, 80s, or 90s. Now, every once in a while, I do bring up the 50s or 60s or even older, but normally you don't see me talk about it nearly as much. All right, next question. This person didn't want their name mentioned. You talk about Ready Player One a lot. Have you read Ender's Game? Matter of fact, I have read Ender's Game, but I know there's a whole bunch more books to the series, and I haven't read any of those. I think the second one's called like Ender's Shadow or something like that, but I definitely plan on reading them eventually. I just haven't had time to get around to it. Although, loved Ender's Game. Great book, and also really, really good movie. So, I have been reading Dark Tower right now. I'm actually on book 6, so I'm about a quarter of the way into book 6 on that, which doesn't have anything to do with your question, but I thought it was cool since the movie just came out, and I'm really loving that series. So, but thanks for the question. Really good question. All right, our next one is from Demon Seed, C-E-E-D. That's how you spell the end of his name. Can I be on your show? Right now, I mean, I've only done like 20 episodes, so I'm kind of new, still learning the ropes, learning my way around. But later down the road, I'm definitely looking to do some collaborations, and I actually have one channel that's already interested in doing a collab with me, so I'm going to be probably doing that after I get back from a vacation. So we'll see how that goes. But I appreciate the request, and maybe down the road I will be doing some collabs with some of you guys. All right, Alex with an X wrote, what's your favorite old movie? My favorite movie of all time is probably Goonies. I also love Tombstone. Great movie. But Goonies, I can watch that movie over and over and over. It's got so many great scenes. I went to a Comic-Con recently and got to see 3 of the guys that were there. That was just really fun. So I definitely think that that's probably my favorite movie. Good question. Thank you. Oh, Alex with an X also asked me another question. What's your favorite Christmas? Okay, so I've told many people this in the past, just in my life, but my favorite Christmas was in 1985, and the reason that I love that Christmas so much is because I got Devastator, and I also got Jetfire, and I am a huge Transformers fan, so those are 2 toys that I grew up with that I loved, and to this day I still love them. And anytime I see them on sale, or even any of the newer ones, I usually try to buy them. So I loved 1985 for that reason. All right, this guy left his email address, but I don't want to give that out. But his question is, do you talk about old anime on your show? I haven't really, not yet. I do love anime, but I'm not as familiar with some of the newer anime than I am with a lot of the older stuff. Manzinger Z was probably my favorite one. I also like Voltron. There's probably a couple others that but I just can't remember the names of them. But I do really enjoy anime. I've seen Death Note recently, and that was really good. Love that. And there's actually a movie that's going to be coming out pretty soon. So yeah, sorry, I don't have a lot of information on the newer anime stuff, but like this channel is mainly about older stuff anyway. So if that's really the question you're asking, probably Manzinger Z is probably the one that I would talk about, and Voltron. All right, so Sadie in New York, she wrote, I enjoyed the MLP episode. You should do more episodes about that. There is a very diverse and large canon about the ponies. I think your audience would enjoy it. Oh, okay. MLP, My Little Pony. I'm not really a huge fan of the My Little Pony series, but the new movie seems like it's going to be really good. And I actually have a guy that I work with that really, really loves My Little Pony, which is kind of interesting. But I'm not going to knock it because it's kind of a cool series. I remember the old one. I used to watch that when I was a kid. That was pretty good. And I have a sister, and I think she liked that show as well. But don't really watch the new series, so wouldn't really be able to give much insight to it. Except I did see the preview for the new movie, and that was pretty good. All right, so 80s Raider 84 wrote me this. What's your favorite cartoons growing up? My favorite cartoons growing up. So probably my two all-time favorites, and I still love them, is the early 80s Transformers. Love that series. And G.I. Joe. Watched both of those, usually back to back, when I was a kid. I think it came on after I got out of school. But those are two of my favorites. Now, if you want to talk about like Saturday morning cartoons, love the Ghostbusters cartoon. I love Beetlejuice, The Littles. Really love the WWF. I think it was Hulk Hogan and Friends. It had Captain Lou Albano. He like hosted it or something. That was probably one of my favorite ones growing up. Really like that. That was probably some of the ones I really liked growing up. All right, so don't really have any more questions. Maybe if I had a larger subscriber base, I would. But hey, I'm happy with what I got. So I will give a couple other questions that I thought of myself that you guys might or might not be interested in. My favorite color is blue. I grew up in a mixed family, and what that means is my mom is white and my real dad's white, but my stepdad is black. And when I was about 3 years old, that's whenever my mom remarried. And anyway, I'm from a mixed marriage, which growing up was pretty interesting, good and bad. But I loved my family, and I loved it for me. I thought that my mom and my dad really loved each other, and he is a great father and a great father figure to me. So I guess that's something about me. My favorite food is definitely Mexican food, although Italian is probably a real close second. Some of my favorite hobbies are collecting comic books, old movies. Really love old movies and old TV shows. Like I really like MASH. I really like Cheers, things like that. I like that stuff. I even like the real old superhero TV shows. I like the Flash. I liked the old Spider-Man series and old Hulk. That was good. And yeah, I even like the Batman and Superman serials. Those were really good too. And last thing about me is I love animals. I really love dogs, and I love watching YouTube videos and Facebook videos about animals and dogs and cats and just little different animals. So yeah, I really have an affinity for animals. I really love them. All right, so that's it for the Q&A. I hope I answered some of the questions that you might have been wondering about. And if not, shoot me a message on here or Twitter, or email me at retrocrunch84@gmail.com, and maybe I can answer some of those questions, especially when I do another Q&A if that happens. So that's where we're ending the show today. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the current nostalgia news every week. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.